Well, what do we have here? Well, it's another episode of First Levels, if you haven't guessed. And we're going to play the first Castlevania. Now, this is the game that started the whole Castlevania series, obviously, on the Nintendo Entertainment System. What year did that say? 1987, I believe. And well, here we go. Now, this game, you'll obviously see is very familiar because it holds a pretty good resemblance to what Castlevania games look nowadays. Although it doesn't quite play the same, it doesn't quite play as well. The character moves slower, the controls are a little unresponsive. Although I consider the game pretty good, it also has a few other things that aren't quite the snuff, if you ask me. Compare it to, say, Castlevania 3, or Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which basically revolutionized the series. It's very, well, let's call it linear, even though that's not the proper term. It was a Castlevania game back before they discovered that a more open-world concept that you saw in, say, Symphony of the Night, which allowed your character to basically wander around to any point in the map that he has access to, and then do things in whichever order you feel like or you possibly can. In this, you basically have individual levels, which makes it appropriate for the series, I figure. And this is just the first level. Now, the storyline was pretty much become a legendary thing in the Castlevania series. We are playing as a guy named Simon Belmont of the Belmont family, which would become the main characters of the Castlevania series. Simon takes his whip with the intention of going and killing Count Dracula. Now, that's going to be a little bit of a difficult thing because, well, everybody knows Count Dracula's a vampire, so the Belmont family, or a clan, or whatever you want to call them, essentially in this series became known as the Vampire Hunters. And this was the first game in the series. Now, one of the problems with this game is, well, the whip thing was a little bit of an unusual addition to the game because, well, you notice when he attacks, he throws a whip behind him and then flings it forward. Well, that gives a little bit of a delay in movement. Simon stops walking whenever he throws the whip, and he also can't change direction after he jumps, which makes attacking as well as jumping to avoiding enemies potentially difficult. But also we have these additional weapons. If you get used to the way the game plays, it's not too difficult. Well, that was the level 1 boss, by the way. Beating him. Some vampire bat, I guess, and there we go. It was the first level. Counts up how many hearts we have remaining. In the later games, the hearts which are used for your special weapons would accumulate. So, what do we have here? We have Megaman, made in 1987 by Capcom. Now, this is the first in the Megaman series, and, well, honestly, I do not have fond memories of this one, although I do get why people liked it. The Mega Man series for me didn't really come that good until Mega Man 3, although I still remember playing a lot of Mega Man 2. Now, this is a game series that there are way too many sequels to, and it's probably nowadays a little difficult to see why. It's a relatively simple side-scroller. You run around shooting as this robot named Mega Man going to stop various Dr. Wily, who built his own robots in order to take over the world. And in fact, in this game, Dr. Wily didn't build his own robots, he just stole and reprogrammed them. Robots designed by another doctor named Dr. Light. Anyway, Mega Man has to go out and destroy all of the robots, and then go and stop Dr. Wily from taking over the world. This game definitely shows what was very wrong with the Mega Man series. You're not going to see me. I did like a preliminary walkthrough, played through this level before, and it really isn't the first level of the Mega Man games, but I did the Cutman level here, played through it once just so I know where the enemy placement was, because it's pretty much impossible to play through this game without having done it before. The enemies appear out of nowhere, they dart around. The game was definitely designed with the enemy placement definitely take into consideration how it would best be that frustrate you. This area isn't so bad, but in a little bit we're going to see a bunch of enemies that just fly out of nowhere. They're hovering above you, they seem harmless, and once they pass over top of you, they dart down and hit you. Hard to hit them, hard to avoid them, it's frustrating. And that was what the design of this game thought was good game design at the time, and it wasn't a fairly common thing at the time. Just look at, say, Contra, or even Castlevania, which I just played. Game design has very much changed since then, but this game was seemingly designed to be frustrating. Oh boy, yeah, don't go there. One of the other things that was pretty cool in the series was the fact that after you defeat a boss, you gain their power. That doesn't mean like you get stronger in the sense of a role-playing game or anything like that. It goes by the idea that you actually gain their weapons. Each Robot Master has a specific weapon which can be used, like Cutman, for example, here shoots out gigantic pairs of scissors. And those boss powers are useful against specific other bosses. Each boss has a weakness against another boss, which you would find in the game. I forget who exactly has a weakness to Cutman, or who Cutman has a weakness to, but it didn't really matter because I wasn't going to be playing more past one level. Here's another example of a difficult enemy that was a pain in the ass. It's difficult to get past this guy without getting hit, even if you decide to attack him. Okay, we're very close now. Once you pass through those key doors, you become one step, essentially, away from fighting the Robot Master for the level. There's only really one boss, though, in certain games that they have sub-bosses. Now we're going to fight Cutman. Probably the easiest of the bosses in this game, which is why I chose to fight him instead. I didn't die a bunch of times, even though I'll have to admit that I did die once. And you see the boss light bar here next to Megaman X, and you, there we go, we got him. Once you deplete the health bar, you get his power, and the level ends. Now, there are a whole bunch of Mega Man games released for the Nintendo Entertainment System, but when the Super Nintendo came out, a new series was begun. Now, this is a little bit of a sequel, kind of a spin-off series. It's a little hard to figure out how it works. But we have another Mega Man game for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, and this one is called Megaman X. Now, that is actually an X. That's not the Roman numeral for 10. Megaman X, or rather Mega Man 10, was eventually made, I think, in the year 2009. It took them a while to get that far. But Mega Man X and Mega Man 10 are completely different games. Now this one is actually, instead of taking place, you're not playing as the titular Mega Man, you're actually playing as a character named X. Now X was a kind of a different, more advanced model of Mega Man that Dr. Light made right before he died. But unfortunately, he figured that X had like a more advanced brain and such, and would be potentially prone to becoming violent in the event that a long series of sort of tests and stuff were done on his brain to determine if he had any defects. So X was essentially sealed up and kept inside of a tube for like 80 years or so. And during those 80 years, society had basically forgotten how to build robots and stuff. Or would build advanced robots like Mega Man was in the original series. So, a doctor, I actually can't remember what his name is, but a doctor 100 years from now goes and discovers X and revives him and studies him, reverse engineers X to produce a number of extra robots. Primarily, we're talking about a robot named Sigma. Sigma was a powerful robot which was built with the intention of hunting down other robots that this doctor built, which, well, let's say didn't work out too well. A number of robots went insane. Something called like a Maverick virus or something along those lines, and went and started attacking people. So X volunteered himself to go and hunt them down. But, as you'll see in this game, which has a little bit of a stronger story than the old Mega Man games, X wasn't really built for battle, and a lot of these robots that went insane were. So, X is really under-equipped to fight them. Which isn't really too unusual, because Dr. Wily built all of his robots with the intention of sending them into battle, and the original Mega Man was not built for battle. But whatever. Now, you see, this game definitely looks better than the old Mega Man games. It takes advantage of the SNES quite well, at least for its time. Also, the gameplay is improved. X can hop across walls. Enemy design looks a lot better. And the game wasn't built specifically with the idea of frustrating the hell out of you in mind. Now, not to say that this game is terribly easy in comparison to, say, a modern game, where modern games seem to be built with the idea of making them accessible and easy to complete. This one, well, it was made to be possible to win, I imagine. Unlike the old Mega Man games, which seem to have been built with the idea of frustration. But by comparison to modern games, it's still not quite that easy. But here we go. This is a Mega Man game that actually does have a first level, and the first level is nearly impossible to die unless you're a complete moron. And you'll see why during our boss battle coming up. This guy is named Vile. He is a character that's going to be taking place in the Mega Man X series through basically its entire run, or at least as far as the games that I had played. I didn't play all the Mega Man X games. They ended up making a whole shitload of them. But he's a reoccurring character, and he, we'll see, is actually quite impossible to beat. I feel I'm doing fairly well fighting him. But no matter what you do, you can't beat him. It's impossible to jump over him, and he will always take you down. Ooh, dialogue. Awesome. Thanks for the save, Ponytail Boy. Well, that's it for the first level of Mega Man X, and that is it for this episode. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.